Good morning, Hive. Today for math, we are going to be talking about simplest form with fractions. This is chapter 8, lesson 5, and it might say simplifying fractions, but when it's simplifying fractions, what you are doing is bringing it down to its simplest form, or basically making it as small as you can. You are reducing that fraction till the only numbers that you have are basically both as small as they can be. The only numbers that they really share are 1 or 2. So we're going to simplify our fractions today, and these are some of the rules, the 4 steps that you're going to follow when you are reducing fractions or bringing them down to their simplest form. So to start, if you would like to pause the video now, if you are wanting to write these steps down yourself, you are welcome to do that because that might help. So I recommend that right here is where you pause, and then as you come back, I'm going to go ahead and go through these steps with you. So go ahead and pause if you want and get a pencil and write these in your journal. Okay, great. So we're back now, and I'm going to start walking us through these steps in reducing fractions, simplifying fractions, or finding the simplest form. All right, so the first thing it says is list all of the factors of both the numerator and denominator. So I'm going to pick a fraction here. I'm going to say, well, maybe they've asked you to simplify. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Maybe they have asked you to find the simplest form of, let's just pick a fraction here, 4/12. All right, well, the first thing it tells you to do is list all of the factors of both the numerator and denominator. Well, we can do that easily. All right, so if we remember how to find our factors, I've always had you write your multiplication sentences, all the ways you know how to make them. So some people make you write them out in a row. I like you to write the multiplication sentences because that's the way you know how to do it. So I'm going to go with 1. I've always taught you to start with 1 times the number. Another way to make 4, 2 times 2. Okay, that works. Any other ways to make 4? Now, many of you guys always say, oh, well, 4 times 1, we could flip it. Well, if we flip it, do we get any other factors? Any other new numbers? No. So we have 1, 4, and 2 times 2. All right, now let's find all the factors of 12. Well, we always start with 1 times 12. You want to give me another one? Think in your head. Well, can we do 2 times something? Yeah. 2 times 6. Another one? Yep. I can hear you beaming, screaming. 3 times 4. Okay, so we have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. Now I'm going to change colors here because step 2 says circle all of the common factors. That means circle all of the factors that these numbers have in common. And common means all the numbers they have that are the same. Any numbers they have that are the same. Well, let's look. They both have a 1. Yep, he's got a 1, he's got a 1. Do they both have a 2? Yep. They both have 2s. He has a 3. Does he have a 3? No. He has a 4. Does he have a 4? You betcha. Now this guy has a 6. Does he have a 6? No. He has a 12. That's big, but he doesn't. So at this time, when I look at the factors that they share, I'm going to write them up here. They share 1, 2, and 4. Which one is the greatest? Let's find out, because number 3 says find the greatest common factor. This is something you're going to hear all through math. Greatest common factor, or GCF. That is the entire point of this lesson. To simplify any fraction, you always have to find the greatest common factor that the numerator and denominator share. So when we've done these two, we find that the greatest common factor that these two numbers share, that the numerator and denominator share, is 4. So now I'm going to take and find my next step. Divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. So I think it's easier if I rewrite the fraction, 4/12, and I divide, because remember, we always do the same. Whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. So now I know I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by the greatest common factor, which is 4. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom, divide by 4, divide by 4. And you guys know when it's the same on top and bottom, I always draw a 1 around it because that's the magic 1. Because that shows I'm not really changing the fraction, I'm just renaming it. All right, so 4/12, 4 divided by 4 is, you got it, 1. And 12 divided by 4, that's just how many 4s are in 12. And we go 4, 8, 12, 4, 8, 12, that's 3. So my new simplified fraction is 1/3. That is as small as it can get. Okay, so 4/12 reduces to 1/3. Should we try another one? Okay, and we'll follow our steps one more time, okay? Here we go. I'm gonna this time do, I'm gonna do one a little bit harder. Let's do 14 28. Okay? And some of you right now I think are thinking, oh, I've already got it. I know what they share. Okay? So here we go. All right. So factors of 14, we start with list all of the factors. And on 14, it's kind of a weird number, but we know 1 times 14. I know 2 times 7. Anybody got anything else for me? I don't think so. When I do 28, this one might have a little more. We have 1 times. Always start with your 1 because you know that even a prime number can do 1 times the number itself. Can I do 2 times something? 2 times, it's kind of a big number, but I can do 2 times 14. And I happen to know that 28 is also 4 times 7. And I do this example because I know that they're going to give you weird big numbers. This time I'm going to do my second step in the opposite color. So now it's circle all of the factors that they have in common. Circle all of your common factors. So they both have a 1. I think these guys are going to have a lot in common. 1. Do they both have 2? Yeah. 1, 2. This guy's got a 4. Does he have a 4? No. He has a 7. Does the other guy have a 7? Yes. Yes. He has a 14. Does he have a 14? Yes. And he has a 28. Does he have 28? No, that's bigger than he is. So when I write out their factors, they have 1, 2, 7, and 14. That's why I like to list them, because then, and if I put them in order, I can right away see our third step, which is find the greatest common factor. My greatest common factor is 14. So if I take 14 over 14/28, and I do the last step, which is divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, and I divide them both by 14 over 14. 14 divided by 14. We know how many 14s are in 14? 1. How many 14s are in 28? Well, for some of us that might be tricky because we don't do division facts or multiplication facts of 14. But you could try to solve it because we know that they share that number in common now. You could try to say 14 plus 14. Can I do 2 of them? Can I do 3? Well, I know now if I do 14 plus 14, that's 28, so I know that that's 2. So 14/28 reduces down, simplifies to 1/2. Okay? So again, make sure that you keep these steps there for you, whether you are doing the math book page today or whether you do the whole, because most of you are going to do the math book page as I add it for you. You are going to want to list all your factors of the numerator and denominator, circle the ones they have in common, and find the greatest common factor. Right? Then you're going to divide the numerator and denominator by that common factor. Many of you are going to instantly look at a fraction and you're going to go, oh, they share 2. And you're going to divide it by 2. Maybe they share a bigger number. And then you're going to realize, oh, maybe I should have divided again by 2. Right? So don't just jump and instantly assume that they share a 2 or a 4. If you see you could reduce it further and that they could maybe divide again, then divide again. Maybe if you instantly jumped and divided by 2, but you should have divided by 4, look again, okay? So have fun with that today. And simplest form, greatest common factor. Bye-bye.